Grady, put your hands together for him.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was quite an introduction. How do you follow me around town and just introduce me all over the country? Thank you, Del Toro.
You're welcome, buddy.
Of the Bull.
Absolutely.
It suits you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for having me. You are here till the end. I know some of you are saying this guy better be worth it, right? I appreciate you being here. I am a speaker. I'm a business owner. How many business owners do we have left in the room? I'm a musician. Do we have any musicians in the room? Is Charlie still here? Charlie left a CD on the back, some folk music. Are you Charlie?
No, sir.
Different Charlie. Okay. But first and foremost, I am a salesman. I began my career straight out of college in the life insurance business. Do we have any life insurance professionals in the room tonight? Awesome. Any ex-life insurance professionals in the room? Used to be the way to clear a room was just tell them, you're in the life insurance business. And I was not initially what you would call a top producer. I had no money when I started, and roughly 6 months later, after getting into the insurance business, I had less money than when I started. I had a conversation with my manager at the time, and his name was James, and I said to James, James, I just don't think I'm cut out for this business. And he said, yeah. I said, I think I'm going to quit. And he said, okay. I said, James, I know it sounds funny, but I just can't stand the pain. Boss, I am leaving sales tomorrow. It seems to me, I've done all I can. My friends won't let me borrow. That's why I'm leaving. I'll be in sales Tuesday morning. I said I'm leaving. I'm leaving sales Tuesday morning. Why in the world won't anyone buy from me? They won't do what I tell them. Everybody wants me to give it to them for free. They're not happy when I try to sell them. That's why I'm leaving. I'm in sales Tuesday morning. I said I'm leaving. I'm leaving sales Tuesday morning. I don't want to say nothing. I already sold my house, my car, and my wife's ring. That's it. I quit. I'm leaving sales Tuesday morning. I said I'm leaving. I'm leaving sales Tuesday morning. Wasn't sure how the banjo would fly in Maryland, but I appreciate that very much. It was a close call for me. I had a second conversation with James, and tonight really is kind of about conversations that you have with yourself. There's pivotal moments that you have in your life, and maybe this is one of them where you're faced with a tough choice to move on or to choose something else. And this was one of those times for me. I had a second conversation with James. I said, James, I am going to quit. But first, I'm going to set a record for this company. He said, whatever, dude. Just get back to work. Now, somebody recommended my first motivational seminar, my first book on personal development. At the time, I'd never been to a sales seminar. I never read a personal development book. But I went to this seminar, I read this book, and I applied as much as I could. And roughly 3 months after this declaration, I ended up setting a record for the company. James came up to me the next day and said, are you going to quit now? I said, I'm cool now. I kind of like it here. It's amazing when you break through to that next level how different life can occur. I became extremely committed to training and development. I went to all the seminars that I could. People that you've heard of today, people maybe that you've been to seminars in the past, Les Brown and Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen and Marianne Williamson and Tony Robbins, all these people. I went to all their programs. I bought all their stuff, brought it back to my office, applied as much as I could. It always paid for itself. I ended up moving into management. By the age of 22 and a half, I had had an office in Diamond Bar, California, 20 people on my team, number 3 in the country out of about 45. And look, I don't tell you this to impress you, because it never would have happened without this commitment to training. And I've always been fascinated how you can learn something, apply it, and have a difference in your business, sometimes a difference in your life, period. I remember one day learning a strategy on how do you handle frustration. Now, I'm sure in your businesses currently there's very little frustration. Before I share with you the strategy, I'll just share with you the situation. I moved into this office in Diamond Bar, really nice office. I opened the door one day, and noticed as I walked in, the copier was gone. The TV was gone, the VCR was missing, all the computers were nowhere to be found. We were not scheduled for a move this day, so this was a bit peculiar. I walked into my private office. I had an entire library, an entire wall dedicated to this personal and professional development stuff. Books and tapes and audio programs, computer programs, time management programs. I had about $5,000 to $8,000 worth of this stuff on my wall. And all that stuff was gone too. I got extremely frustrated. I thought, how could these people have the nerve to rip off my stuff? But then I remember my strategy on how do you handle frustration. It was on one of those tapes that had just been stolen. And the strategy was to ask yourself a question. The question was, what's funny about this? I have not noticed yet. And it took me a minute. But I finally got an answer. I pictured my perpetrators taking inventory of their newfound stock and passing over the computers, the copiers, the TVs, the VCR, finally getting to my personal development collection. One of them saying to the other, hey man, looks like one of those personal development DVDs. Let's check that out. I saw myself not long after this sitting in a seminar, listening to these two men talk about how their whole life changed when they ripped off this guy in California. Now, why do I share that with you? Because truly your whole life can make a change. And for some of you, it's a commitment. For some of you, it may just be a recommitment to training and development. And that's what I hope tonight will be about for you. You've heard a lot of stuff tonight, and you're still here. It really says something about it. Look around you. Not everyone's here right now. So just because you're here right now, this says something about you and your commitment to grow and to learn. You've showed up. You've stayed until the bitter end. You're hoping that there's something here for you. Please, God, let this be the one. But showing up is simply not enough. It's a good start. But in order to really get the value out of any work, and I want to just define this thing called work. There's been a lot of work that's thrown at you tonight. A lot of stuff. You got a lot of stuff, a lot of sales stuff, right? You got some charge higher prices stuff. You got some business stuff. That stuff takes work. It takes what Stephen Covey calls sharpening the saw. That's not necessarily fun stuff. I call it doing the work. I mean, can you imagine, hey man, come over tonight, we're going to sharpen our saws. That sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it? I mean, that's hard work. It can be tedious, it can be frustrating, it can be irritating, and it can just be kind of painful to work hard on yourself. But you're here, and that's a good start. It's not enough. In order to get the most out of tonight or really any training experience, you've got to pay attention. You've got to pay attention to the value that the work brings into your life. And I really want to challenge you tonight to do something, whether it's something I say or something that Scott said or James or Omar. Look, take something out of tonight and really just commit to doing something with it. But not just doing something with it, paying attention to what happens because you committed to doing something with it. That's the ripple effect. That's the power. That's the real strength in doing the work, is being aware and paying attention. Now, I know you've been here quite a long time. You've probably got other places to go, and we're running a little behind schedule, and I've got a real short time with you. But I'm truly committed that tonight can be something different for you. I've known Eric for a long time. I've actually known Scott for a long time. We used to work together at my company called High Achievers. And Eric asked me to share with you some sales stuff tonight. So I want to give you some broad strokes. And I already got a lot of sales stuff so far, because I can share with you more sales stuff. I've been teaching sales stuff for 18 years. You want to hear more sales stuff? How many wants to hear more sales stuff? More sales stuff? A couple of you want to hear more sales stuff. Go sales stuff. But I really want to share with you why all that sales stuff sometimes just doesn't work. Welcome to the demotivational portion of the program. First, I'm going to bring you really far down. I'm going to leave you there, and I'm going to sell you something. No, I'm just kidding. I really want to, truly, this stuff sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. I will share with you some broad strokes, and I'll share with you a couple of what I found to be the most powerful distinctions I've gained in my 18 plus years in this career that had nothing to do, at least on the surface, with sales stuff. So those of you that came for sales stuff, I'll give it to you right now. The best that I got. The 3 biggest reasons why sales are killed. Here they go. Are you ready for these? Number 1 reason why sales are killed. And by the way, no matter how great you are in sales, would you agree with me that sooner or later you kill sales? I mean, you do things just to mess them up. I was speaking with Emmy earlier tonight. She talks about networking strategies. How do you bring people? This is basically what you want to do with sales. It's really 2 things. How do you find people that you can talk to, and then how do you not screw them up? This is basically sales. So there's 3 basic ways we screw up sales. No matter how good you are, you're going to mess up in one of these 3 categories. So I'll share these with you, a couple of simple ideas that you can do to be more effective in all 3 of these areas, and then what I think is the biggest reason why all this sales stuff doesn't work. So here we go. Number 1 sales killer is that you have been dismissed. You have been dismissed before you open up your mouth. Once you open your mouth, that dismissal is confirmed. Have you ever experienced this? You know you've been dismissed when people don't return your phone calls. You know you've been dismissed when you're the only one speaking. You know you've been dismissed when somebody says, "Hey man, I'll call you Tuesday." You will never hear from that person again. In the South, they do it a little nicer. I'm from the South, born and raised in the South. They'll say things like, "It was so nice meeting you. Can't wait to see you next week." You have been dismissed. Second sales killer. By the way, you've got to find creative ways to answer this question. Nick, where's Nick? Nick, who are you? And why should I care? This is the opposite of being dismissed. It's called doing your homework, being creative, opening the door creative, being relevant, appropriate, specific, all those things. You've been dismissed is number 1. Second one is kind of right along with this. It's called ineffective reads. Ineffective reads. R-E-A-D. In other words, I just don't know enough about you, your situation, maybe your personality style, maybe your background, maybe the specifics of your business, so that I can actually be relevant, appropriate, and specific to you and what you're about. Does that make sense? That's called an ineffective read. Third one along with this is what I call lack of flexibility. In other words, let's say I know Nick, I know who he is, I know his personality style, I've got a good read of the situation. Lack of flexibility means I just don't have the right tool, the right technique, the right skill, or sometimes it's just the courage to act on the read that I have. So you can have someone just bring you in the door, you can have an effective read and still mess it up with lack of flexibility. So I want to give you 1, maybe 2 things that you can do that affect all 3 of these. The first one is your initial contact with your prospect. More sales are messed up here, I believe, than any other place. Now, you're smart people in here. Tell me, what is the most important thing that you must establish first in your initial contact before anything else? Rapport. This is a correct answer. This is the correct answer. Rapport tends to lead to trust. Trust ultimately leads to a relationship. Rapport is first. Have you ever tried a presentation with no rapport? Anybody ever done this? How did that